How y'all doing? What's going on? Welcome back, everybody. This is David Adams Podcast, D.A.P. And tonight we're talking about the case about Karmelo Anthony and the sentence. You know what I mean? They got people talking on social media. It's an ongoing conversation. We're talking 35 years behind bars. It's a serious sentence, man. A life-changing sentence. And whatever somebody is facing that kind of time, I believe one question has to be asked. And that is, did we get the full story? Now, before anybody gets emotional, this is not about disrespecting any victim. This is not about saying nobody suffered harm. We're not saying that. This is not about saying tragedy did not happen. I'm not saying that. This is about asking whether every piece of evidence was examined. That's what that's about. And whether every reasonable doubt was explored. Before man has to be given decades, a young man at that, given decades of his life behind prison walls. Because in America, guilt is supposed to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, not beyond social media pressure, not beyond public opinion.
So you're saying he should have been charged, just not with the first degree murder or whatever? Was it first degree?
He didn't have to be charged at all. He didn't have to be charged at all.
Not beyond what people think.
Okay, here's the problem. So, that's exactly why we have to separate internet claims from trial evidence.
What they think happened, beyond a reasonable doubt.
From everything that I understand, which I wasn't at the trial because obviously I got a day job.
See, this is why we here separating internet rumor from the actual fact.
And when people look at this case, some are asking the question that deserves answers.
A white young boy body drops and you think he should not have been charged.
Well, some people might say, why are you even bringing a knife like that to a track meet?
Yeah, people may say that, but walk a day in my shoes.
Asking hard questions is not unreasonable. It's necessary.
The outrage was never about Karmelo. It was about who was on the other side. The truth is, y'all don't care when black people destroy other black people. You only care when black people get into it with white people because you need an excuse to justify your own race.
People form opinions before all the evidence is presented.
I just tell people, we don't know all the facts. We don't know what was said, what was not said, because we weren't in that courtroom. So due to the appeal, the areas that they missed, they bring it back up. Because like I said, it's a crazy situation.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You need to be ashamed. You need to be ashamed.
It gets argued on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Either way it goes, there's no win in it.
Was justice being persuaded, or was there pressure to reach a certain outcome?
I feel bad for the Karmelo Anthony family. I mean, they're in a sense losing their son for a little while too, But the thing is, they'll most likely be able to get him back. Austin Metcalf's folks, they won't ever get that young man back.
His father, he called Karmelo Anthony a racial slur, and he also said that the reason that black people weren't on the jury is because black people are unable to hold bias from the trial because they don't know their own fathers, have a bunch of baby mamas running around living off of government assistance. So that is that's the thinking of the victim's father.
Let's not say that was the victim's thinking as well.
Of the victim, but of the victim's father.
I'm human.
People see things differently.
And that poor boy is fixing to experience a life that I would not wish upon anyone, but he deserves what he gets. Because what it boils down to for me is this. Austin will never walk through that door again and never give me a hug.
So you think race played a role in the verdict?
Oh my God. I know Collin County. So absolutely. Collin County is right north of Dallas County. And I can tell you that I have had cases that I felt like played out differently because of the counties that they were in. And unfortunately, that was not the county for a black boy.
People have a right to examine the process because if the evidence is strong, then the verdict should withstand the scrutiny. If there are unanswered questions, then people are going to keep asking questions. And honestly, they should. Justice should never be afraid of questions.
Because we as black folks say, why is it that people need long armed guns when we are going out and having a First Amendment protest?
But you're not gonna give a just at your front door.
Justice should never be afraid of transparency. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Do you believe the case was all right? Do you believe that there's still questions that deserve answers? This is David Adams, the podcast, D.A.P. And we're going to keep talking about these or having these conversations that a lot of people are afraid to actually have. Peace and blessings. Much love and respect.
Going on. And for those who are trying to find love, I just want to tell you that the fantasy is not real. The fantasy is not real. The fantasy that some grow up with the mentality of thinking, I want this beautiful relationship with this person. And this sometimes sticks in your head. I call it fantasy stored syndrome. Yeah, that fantasy is stuck in some people's head. It's never going to be peaches and cream. Don't get it twisted. You don't fall in love. You grow in love. You have to grow with that person. In order for you to find the right person, when you get with someone, you grow to become the right person. The first 6 months, the first 8 months, the year, possibly 2 years, everything is going to be peaches and cream. Everything is going to go the way you want it to go, which is the fantasy stage. But after that, here comes the trials, the tribulations. Here comes the disagreements. Here comes the arguments. Here comes the things you don't like. Here comes the things that you get annoyed with. Here comes the frustration. All of that is going to happen no matter what you do, no matter who you get with, no matter what person you get with. It's all going to happen. This is why most people jump in a relationship in the fantasy stage, which is the beginning. And they jump out as soon as they come into the rough stages, which is the reality. See, because that fantasy is stored. It's definitely stored in your head. And sometimes it stays there until you're in your 60s. Some people never get over that. Never get over the fantasy stage. Oh yeah, it's real in some people's heads until they get into their 60s and 70s and they realize, you know what? Why can't I find the right person? And they never thought, it's me. It was me the whole time. Brothers, it was you the whole time, thinking you're going to find that queen and she going to be all this and that. All in your head thinking it's going to be like this. And when you get there, it's not like that. So in reality, you have to grow with that person for that person to be the right person for you. You can't think that everything is going to be peaches and cream. when you get with someone. If you do that, you are in a position to be in a rude awakening. You're going to have a rude awakening, man. And then you're going to constantly go out to try to find that fantasy love again and again and again and again. And it never stops because you never wanted to go through any trials and tribulations. You got to go through trials and tribulations. You got to go through that period where you don't like each other. You're going to go through that. If you are looking to be in a long-term relationship, you are not going to like that person. Yeah, you're not going to like that person. There's going to be times where you going to hate each other. You're going to be pissed with each other. You understand? And that's the time you have to fight through that. Communicate. Speak soft to one another. Be calm. Don't get so easily angered over the little things. You got to come to an agreement. You have to compromise. Something that most people don't want to do is compromise. You got to say, I was wrong. I'm going to say that one more time. You must say, I was wrong. And not just to say I was wrong, really mean it and know where you were wrong at. You have to apologize. There's going to be times where you have to apologize. Most people, a lot of people, do not like to apologize for their wrong. You can't always be right. It's impossible. And if you are right, that person should say, you know, you're right. Especially when you know deep down inside that she was right. You have to say, baby, you know what? You was 100% right. Especially if you know he was correct or right. You have to say, my sister, you know what, baby? You were right. My apologies. I didn't see it. Now that you showed me that, I see that. You got to understand you're on the same team. If you don't see if you don't see yourself on the same team trying to accomplish the same goal, you are not going to get through in that relationship. You will be checking out and you'll be trying to look for another to go back to the fantasy stage, which is the beginning of a new person. You're going to go through it. So be prepared if you're looking for love. Love has a lot to do with trials, tribulations, sadness, pain, anger, frustration, being annoyed. You will be annoyed with your partner. Trust me on that. You're not going to get through this thing called love or a relationship thinking it's going to be peaches and cream.